Hello, you're watching Outsiders, and what a terrible week it's been for Joe Biden. Just a few weeks into his presidency, and we're already seeing the predictable results of his policies and executive orders. Jobless claims have jumped. 861,000 Americans filed up for unemployment for the first time last week, 100,000 more than economists expected. And surely no small number of them were energy workers laid off by Biden's greeny executive orders. At the same time, petrol prices hit new highs and are sure to go higher as Biden's push to get ordinary Americans to stop being such evil right-wing planet killers because they want to drive their cars so selfishly to the store or, even worse, heat their homes continues. Oh, and then there was the little matter of Joe Biden's CNN town hall. Let's just say it didn't go well for the man. Here's the president talking about the vaccine. Now, pay attention to what he says here.
And the biggest thing, though, as you remember, when you and I shouldn't say it that way, as you remember, but when you and I talked last, we talked about it's one thing to have the vaccine, which we didn't have when we came into office, but a vaccinator.
Hang on. It's one thing to have the vaccine, which we didn't have when we came into office? Really? That's not how millions who'd already received their jabs under the Trump administration recall it. Millions of Americans, including Joe Biden, who received his top-up shots a couple of weeks before his own inauguration. But wait, there's more. Now,
for the things he does based on that. I point out to him, no American president can be sustained as a president if he doesn't reflect the values of the United States. And so the idea, I'm not going to speak out against what he's doing in Hong Kong, what he's doing with the Uyghurs in western mountains of China, and Taiwan trying to end the one China policy by making it forceful. I said, and by the he said he gets it. Culturally, there are different norms at each country, and their leaders are expected to follow.
Now, if you wrote all those words out, it probably wouldn't look like it make a lot of sense, but did he really just say different cultural norms? Did he really just say that? Because I'm a pretty realpolitik kind of guy, and I understand that not every country is going to be a nice liberal democracy. But what China is doing, mass rapes and oppression of the Uyghur people, destroying democracy in Hong Kong, harvesting the organs of Falun Gong practitioners for sale, and on and on and on, that's not different cultural norms. That's just plain evil. And it's also worth noting that once upon a time, Joe Biden had no time for defenses based on so-called cultural norms. Back in 2014, when he was giving a speech against homophobia and talking about countries where being gay is punishable by death, Biden said, quote, hate can never be defended because it's a so-called cultural norm. I've had it up to here, Biden said, with cultural norms. I really mean it. A cultural norm that is sick is sick. It's simple. There's never a justification for a government or individual politician to play off bigotry and hatred. Well, that was then, but this is now. And I suppose when you elect a president beholden to the cultural relativism of the left, which sees America as the true great Satan, and whose own son has been implicated in dodgy deals worth millions with the Chinese Communist Party, well, this is what you get. Anyway, I'm sorry to have to tell you that the shameful performance didn't end there. Remember all the weird racial stuff Biden said and got up to during the campaign? Like the time he said that if black people didn't vote for him, they weren't really black, or the time he said that, quote, poor kids could be just as smart as white kids? Well, now he's up to his old tricks again. And have a look at this bit.
The other portion is a lot of people don't know how to register. Not everybody in the community, in the Hispanic and the African-American community, particularly in rural areas that are distant and or inner city districts, know how to get online to determine how to get in line for that COVID vaccination at the Walgreens or at the particular store.
That's right. According to old Uncle Joe, blacks and Hispanics don't know how to use the internet or are capable of registering to get their COVID shots. I wonder what old Corn Pop would have had to say about that. But the whole thing was such a shocker, the CNN town hall, that even the normally somnolescent CNN, which hosted the event, had to run a fact check and found Biden guilty of all sorts of false and misleading statements. It's tempting to tell Americans to buckle up because the bumpy ride has only just begun, but they probably feel bad enough how much it costs to fill their tanks already and don't need any more reminders.